Today we will see process creation in operating system. We have already studied about the concept of process, so we'll see how the process creation is done. So the parent process create children processes, which in turn create other processes, forming a tree of processes. To understand this, let us look at an example. In this example, you will notice parent A, or the process A, which is also called the parent process, is creating two children processes, children B and children C. This children B is now creating three child processes, D, E and F. Similarly, C is creating the child process G. D is creating the child process H, and H is creating the child process I. So you can see there is a tree of processes that is being created from A till I, and the process A creates B and C with the help of a system call which is called fork. We'll study about this in the next slide. Now when process A creates process B, C and so on, they must share the resources. So how do they share? So first of all, let us look at what are the resources. So resources can be memory, CPU time, files, input output devices. So these are the resources which all the processes, the parent as well the child process, will share. So there are three possibilities. In the first possibility, parent and child share all the resources. In the second case, child share subset of parents resources, that is, the child will not share all the resources of the parent, it will share only some of the resources. And in the third case, parent and child share no resources. So first case, all resources are shared between child and parent. Second case, only some of the resources are shared by the child from the parent. And in the third case, nothing is shared between the child and the parent. So these are the three possibilities of resource sharing. Now how do they execute? Parent and child execute concurrently, that is, they execute parallelly, and the parent waits until the child terminates. So in this case, H will wait for I to complete, D will wait for H to complete, B will wait for D to complete, and A will wait for B and C to complete. So this is how the parent process has to wait for the children processes to complete. Now let us look at the address space concept. So the child is the duplicate of parent. What do we mean by duplicate? We mean that the child process will be having the same data and program as the parent. So the child program or the child process will be having the data and program same as the parent process, and child has a program loaded into it. And what is the program? The same program as the parent. Now let us look at Unix example. So in the previous slide I have already mentioned fork system call is used to create new process, and exec system call is used after the fork system call to replace the process memory space with a new program. That is, the child process will be running a new program, so the new program must be loaded into memory, and that is done with the help of exec system call. Now let us look at a diagram to understand how the fork system call works. Now the fork system call returns two values. The first value is greater than 0 or a positive number, that is for the parent, and the fork returns 0 for the child process. Also, if the fork fails to execute, then it will return a negative number. So in the program there can be if then else statement where the PID value, if it is positive, parent will execute. If the PID value is negative, fork system call fails, and if the PID value is 0, the child will execute. Now in this example, if you see, the parent executes and wait for the child process to terminate, and this is with the help of wait system call. The child process will replace its memory with a new program with the help of this exec system call. After it executes the new program, then it will use the exit system call, and then the parent will know that the child has terminated, so parent resumes or the parent terminates. So this is how the process is created with the help of fork system call. Now let us look at one C program for using the fork system call. So we see that the fork system call value is assigned to this PID, process identifier. Now because the same program is copied both for the parent as well as the child, we need if then else statement, as after the fork statement everything is copied to the child also and it is available with the parent also. So when the fork value is negative, the fork fails to execute. So that is one option. Now if the fork value is returning 0, then the child will execute. So you have to remember that after the fork system call everything will be copied to child as well as parent. Now the same code is executed by child also and parent also after the fork system call. I will repeat, the same set of code is executed by child also and parent also. Now for the child the PID value is 0, so child will execute only this part of the code. Child will execute only this part of the code because child has a PID value of 0. Now when the child executes, what the child is doing in this example, it is using execlp system call, which is a different version of exec system call which we have seen in the previous slide. Here the ls command is executed. So the parameters what has to be specified is where is that ls command stored. It is stored inside bin directory, so we have to specify the path of ls, and the command is ls, and the third parameter is not required, so it is put as null. So the child process will replace its program with this ls, this particular section. So it will execute the ls command, so it will display all the files and directories where this particular C program is stored. This C program is stored in a directory, so in the same directory we will be applying the ls command and all the files and directories will be printed. Now as I have already mentioned, the same program is executed for parent also and child also. So for the parent, if the number is positive, if it is negative, error, if it is 0, child, and if it is positive, so that is the else part. So that is how you can understand that the same code is executed by parent also, child also. The same code is copied for parent also, child also. Child executes this green section and parent execute this orange section, because the PID value is different for parent and child. 0 for child and a number which is positive integer is for parent. So parent will wait for the child to complete using this wait system call. So parents waits for the child to complete, then parent prints the child has completed his execution, and then it uses the exit system call. So this is how fork system call can be used to create new child process. Now let us look at how process termination takes place. So process termination can take place in two ways. Either the process, in this case the parent process or the child process, executes the last statement and asks the operating system to exit using the exit system call. So both parent and child executes their last statement and uses the exit system call, informing the operating system that they want to exit from the system. They've executed and now they want to exit from the system. So the operating system will deallocate the resources that is being allocated to the parent and the child or any process. Also, the output data from the child is sent to the parent if the parent is using the wait system call. So the process termination may take place where the child may output some data which will be sent to the parent via the wait system call. So this is the first way of process termination. The second process is that the parent process terminates all the children processes using the abort system call. So here parent will be executing the abort system call to terminate all the child. Now why the parent will execute the abort system call? So one reason could be child has exceeded the allocated resources. So whatever resources it has been assigned to child process, it has exhausted all the resources. So it may, or the parent may use the exit, or the parent may use the abort system call to abort the child. Or the parent does not need the task which was given to the child. So in that case also the parent may terminate the child. So first case, the exceeded the allocated resource, so the child may be terminated. Second case, the task assigned by the parent to the child is not required, so the parent will terminate the child. Or there is a third option, or the third reason for termination of the child process is that parent is exiting. If the parent exits, the child cannot continue. So whatever be the condition, if the parent exits, the child has to terminate. So you can see operating system does not allow child to continue if the parent terminates, and this will result in a cascading termination. So if you have tree of processes and the parent process terminates, then at each level whatever processes are there, they also need to be terminated as they are dependent on the parent. So this is called cascading termination. So now let us look at one example. So if you look at this particular example, this is a PID variable of type PID underscore T, and there is a fork system call. If PID is not equal to 0, this part will be executed by the parent, else the child part. So red part showing that parent will execute and the blue part showing child will execute. So what will be the output? So because the same program will be copied to both parent and child and the initial value of x is 1, so parent will subtract 1 and the result for parent will be 0. Whereas child will also execute the same code, but it will execute this else part. It will not go to the red part. It will not go to the red part. So the child will execute this blue part and it will take 1 and it will give the value of 1 plus 1, which is 2. So this will be the output, 0 and 2, because this is executed by parent, this is executed by child. Now let us look at the second fork example. So we have seen here two fork and fork. So what will be the output, that is how many times by will be printed? So we will see that first time L0 is printed, then with this first fork system call we have parent as well as child. So from this part, this printf to this printf, we have one for parent and we have one for child. So we have L1, one for parent, one for child. Now this fork system call now is they are for parent also and for child also. So one for parent and child and one for parent and child. So this is why 4 times it is printed.